Okay, family. So today we're going to be talking about Mentuhotep II and how he unified Egypt for a second time. So we already know that King Narmer unified Egypt the first time, but what led to Mentuhotep II having to reunify the kingdom? You see, it all started in what was described as a dark period in ancient Egyptian history. During this time period, several people claimed to be kings in Egypt, and many different dynasties ruled at the same time. This is a clear indication of no stability, and the balance of Ma'at had been broken. The central government of the Old Kingdom had collapsed and plunged the country into chaos, a time of war, famine, and struggle for who would reign supreme over all of Egypt. The 7th and 8th dynasty of Egypt continued to rule from Memphis, but really only had control over the local population. The various districts of the country were basically self-governed. Pretty much it was every man for himself. Like the time of Norma, it was the division of rule between two kingdoms. After the reign of the 7th and 8th dynasties, a group of rulers rose out of Hierapolis in Lower Egypt, reigning for approximately 594 years. These kings made up the 9th and 10th dynasties, each with 19 listed rulers. They were believed to have descended from Asiatic invaders who came into Egypt through the Fayum region. This is often viewed as the foreshadowing of the Hyksos invasion in the Delta, which would occur during the Second Intermediate Period. The kings eventually overwhelmed the weak Memphite rulers to create the 9th dynasty. The founder of the 9th dynasty in Lower Egypt was Akhenaten. He is often described as an evil and violent ruler. Most notably in Manetho's writing, he was described as a king who caused much harm on the inhabitants of Egypt and was seized with madness. Akhenaten was actually the governor of the province centered in Hierapolis. The tradition of his cruelty likely stems from his armed attempt to seize all of Egypt. It has been suggested that an invasion occurred in Upper Egypt around the same time as the Hierapolis kingdom, which would establish the Theban line of kings, constituting the 11th and 12th dynasties. This line of kings is believed to have been descendants of Intef. Although Mentuhotep II became the second Menes who united Egypt and ushered in the era of the Middle Kingdom, the path of that unification was initiated by Intef. Intef was a nomarch of Thebes, often called the keeper of the door of the south. He is accredited for organizing Upper Egypt into an independent ruling body. Although he himself did not appear to have tried to claim the title of king, his successors in the 11th and 12th dynasties would do so for him. Intef got rapidly embroiled in war with his northern neighbors. A stela erected by a warlord named Tahuti reported the construction of a road to allow his people to cross the desert, which the ruler of another nome had sealed off. Egyptologists contend that this ruler must have been Intef. In any case, the subsequent defeat of Tahuti ultimately put the three nomes of the Hierapolis dynasty under Theban control, expanding the Theban kingdom 250 kilometers northward with a border near Abydos. Intef II was able to unite all the southern nomes down to the first cataract. After this, he clashed with his main rivals, the kings of Hierapolis. The city changed hands several times, but Intef was eventually victorious, extending his rule north to the 13th nome. Intef III completes this attack on the north, moving into Middle Egypt. The first three kings of the 11th dynasty were also the last three kings of the first intermediate period. The end of the intermediate period is placed at the time when Mentuhotep II of the 11th dynasty defeats the Hierapolis kings of Lower Egypt and reunites Egypt under a single ruler. This act helps usher in a period of great wealth, prosperity known as the Middle Kingdom. Although we pay much homage and respect to Mentuhotep II for reunifying Egypt, let's not forget about the one who initiated this unification, Intef.